Smorgasbord Radio Show.
Welcome back to the SmorgShow Podcast. This is the Smorgasbord Radio Show, episode 136, March 12th, 2022. I'm your host, Chris.
And I'm Allie.
Welcome back, Allie. How was your birthday?
It was fabulous.
How does 24 feel?
No different than 23 and 364 days.
Yeah, that's how it works. Well, welcome back into the lounge.
Thank you. I like this candle you have burning, by the way, Cafe Mocha. When I walked in here, it smelled exactly like a coffee shop.
Well, that's good because usually it smells like a bar.
We kept it classy for me.
That's right. I had to take it up, into a respectable territory for my daughter.
This is a family show, after all.
It is a family show, especially when Jerry's not here. Jerome, who is still recovering from COVID. No, I think he's fine by now. It's been a month and a half, I think, since that happened. Yeah. We record these in advance.
He's back to work.
He's back to work. Yeah, in fact, he's probably been over here already to record the next few episodes, so we just haven't aired them yet.
We time travel in the SmorgShow Lounge.
Yeah, with this new format, it allows us to record, a few of them, queue them up, and then just kind of put them out, on a scheduled time. So that's just a little bit behind the scenes, some of the sausage making that goes into it. You don't need to hear about that.
Work smarter, not harder.
So what do you have for us, Allie, this week? I think you have a topic that you would like to discuss.
Yes. We're going the more intellectual route. But no, I, stumbled across kind of this article this past week and felt like it would be a topic that both you and I could contribute to in different ways, being that we're from different generations and could provide our input on because we offer those two perspectives. So
sounds good.
The title of this segment is Why Dating as a Millennial is So Screwed Up.
Wow.
And to kind of set the stage for it.
So are you a millennial or are you Gen Z? Technically, you're kind of like in between, right?
I'm so on the cusp that I feel like I'm too young to be lumped into the millennial crowd. But then I also see things that Gen Z kids do, and I'm like, oh, I'm not part of that either. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm on the cusp, and there's those quizzes out there where it's how to know if you're a zillennial, which is the term for when someone's on the cusp and they're not quite sure. And I technically do fall into the zillennial category, which is essentially that, like, okay, you were alive for 9/11, but you aren't old enough to have for it to have really impacted you, because I was 3.
Yeah, you didn't see it firsthand.
Right. So like a lot of millennials were in elementary school and remember like on 9/11 and then remember the teacher bringing in the TV and then them all getting sent home early kind of a thing. But then Gen Z kids were not alive for 9/11 most likely. So it's just kind of one of those where I was alive for Y2K and 9/11 but don't remember either one,
Yeah, the generations seem to be coming faster and faster. Because for my whole growing up, we only knew about, the boomers and then Generation X. And then, of course, the greatest generation, but I don't know if we necessarily called that then. I think...
No, that's the parents of the baby boomers.
The World War II parents and
that's because the baby boom was an actual thing where, oh my gosh, like it was a term for all of these babies being born. Like there's a term for that generation because it was all after the war, and you could maybe say the same thing with there were a lot of COVID babies,
Yeah. It's different now.
It's different. There's more overlap and
there's a lot more labeling that goes on today in today's society and definitely a marketing aspect of it. But yeah, the baby boomer thing was more of a phenomenon of like, okay, we're going to see this population growth coming out of this, the post-World War.
And then it was kids of the baby boomers. But then from there, everyone had kids at different points in time. So now the generations are a little more muddled. And then also technology, I think, has rapidly, like I would say exponentially changed and evolved. So I think that's why the generations are smaller now. Because think about technology 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Where I feel like technology, I mean, just from my point of view, technology from the 70s to the 80s, I feel like wasn't a huge leap.
Right.
But technology from 2010 to 2020, like a huge thing.
Yeah.
You're going from flip phones to now like virtual reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is definitely accelerated.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So anyway,
so we're talking the dating scene between generations.
Yeah, and here's the thing is, obviously, you're not in the dating scene. You know, you've not been in the dating scene for a long time, and I'm not in the dating scene.
Yeah.
But I have friends that are, and, you know, just being on social media, you know, being a witness to I definitely get, you know, a kind of a firsthand take on what it's like just, you know, being a millennial and
yeah.
So anyway, so I thought that you and I could both chip in with my Zillennial perspective and your Gen X or whatever.
Yeah.
So to set the stage for this, the commentary on this is that relationships used to be so simple, where it used to be that if you liked somebody, you told them, and that was that. And it's kind of gotten a little more complicated. And if I had to put 2 words to like label the dating scene for millennials, I would say flakiness and non-commitment are like probably the 2 labels I would give it. And because I think we're just in a flaky age right now, you know. So the first bullet point is that why dating as a millennial is so screwed up is that we ghost as a way to end things. Do you know what ghosting is, by the way?
I have not heard that term before. So
ghosting is, instead of blatantly breaking up with someone, hey, this isn't going to work out, I think we should go separate ways, it's kind of a cop-out and I'll just stop calling and text. Well, if people call anymore. No, I'll just stop texting them, stop reaching out, and they'll get the hint that way. So it's a very passive-aggressive approach to end things. If you're no longer interested in someone, you're not going out and saying it because people don't like confrontation. It's, I'll just simply stop responding.
Well, yeah. And back to what my earlier comment about we label things more today. We obviously had that concept, you know, back when I was dating. You would leave a message and not even a voicemail, answering machine message. And you wouldn't get the call back. And you would try again. You wouldn't get the call back. We didn't call it ghosting. We just called it, she's blowing me off.
Yeah. But I mean, you made an effort in, hey, I don't want to see this person anymore. I should probably let them know.
That would have been nice. Yeah.
I think what it is that, you know, and I'll go into this more on some of the other bullet points, but dating apps have kind of changed the game because with dating apps, you can be talking to like 20 different people at once. And everybody knows that you're most likely talking to 20 different people at once. So the idea of ghosting someone is just, well, I'm talking to someone else better. I'll just stop responding to that person. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And then, the other thing that is kind of a common thread is the feeling guilty about having emotions. And so basically, everyone is kind of in this competition of who can care the least, essentially. Like showing your actual emotions is frowned upon. It's like you don't want to show your cards. You don't want to act like you're interested because you don't want to send them running away. It's like this whole game, as if it would be the worst thing in the world if someone knew that I'm admired by someone, you know?
Right. I never understood that psychological game because that's nothing new either.
Yeah, right. It's like, so there's very little gratitude for honest, like being honest about your emotions, being affectionate about somebody, going out of your way to be thoughtful. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know what's changed, and like that's creepy. Like you're really latching on by sending me flowers and you know, that kind of thing. And I don't know if it's because there's so much tiptoeing around with sexual harassment, you know, that no one wants to, maybe it's linked to that.
Yeah. But if somebody is outwardly trying to, well, I guess what's the premise here? Somebody is expressing their feelings and you're not returning them, or you said
it's almost like you don't want to seem too interested because it makes you look desperate.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like I got to play my cool and act like I'm not really interested. And you know what? And this is a segue into the next one that I think might help clear it up a little bit.
I was going to ask, is this more of an issue with who's going to make the first move to show that they're interested, or is it one has already expressed and the other one is trying to not take the bite?
Yeah, you don't want to seem overeager and like,
yeah.
But yeah, it's a segue into how millennials are too strategic about their text responses. So it's like you get a text from someone you're seeing and it's like, okay, I have to wait like 11 minutes to respond. Like, you don't want to respond right away because right there, you're going to seem too desperate and attentive.
He's got nothing else to do. So he's obviously looking at his text.
It's like overthinking every move, I think is kind of what it is.
Yeah.
So it's like we have this instant access to communication. We have the capability of responding within seconds, but it's like we need to pretend like, we're not doing that. It's no longer instantly responding and having that.
Well, I guess there was some art to it even back in the old days when you would exchange phone numbers, or if you went on a date, not to call the next day to say, hey, I had a nice time. You let a few days go by. And then
I guess there was a rule of thumb. There's kind of a game, and I think it's to make it seem like you're busy, that you're important, and it's cool if you're unattached kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Again, going back to that kind of a little bit idea of non-commitment. And then I think the flakiness applies to ghosting. That's totally a flaky approach of, I'm just not going to respond. You know, I feel like the society just has terrible communication now.
Yeah.
I mean, think about you get a Facebook invite to something and you can't even put yes or no. It's
you can't
maybe,
commit.
Maybe.
Yeah. Somebody sends out a Facebook event to 100 people and you've got 89 people interested. Not yes, going, just interested or maybe or whatever the proper. Like, come on.
I saw that with planning my high school graduation party, that I had a lot of people that put maybe or interested. It's like, great. So how many burritos do I get?
Yeah, like, it doesn't help you plan.
Right. No, it doesn't.
No.
And half of those people that said maybe didn't even show, So.
Is it because they're waiting for another opportunity, something else that might come up that might be better, and they don't want to go to your event? What is it?
Yeah, I think that's I do know people that do that. It's like, if something better comes along, then right. Yeah. So then let's talk about, a huge thing that's different in the dating scene now versus when you were on the market, right? Okay.
Make me sound like a piece of meat.
Is social media. And I think social media's presence has really killed a lot of things. Here's a couple of things that it's done. Now people expect a type of perfection that doesn't actually exist because everyone's lives look better on social media than in real life.
The Instagram personality, persona.
Yeah, it's like you have social media, all these dating profiles that are just shoved in your face, and then it kind of leaves people feeling entitled to like, well, I deserve nothing but the best, which, okay, like you set a high standard for yourself, but people are all flawed, like obviously there's some red flags you need to steer away from, but like everybody has imperfections, and it's unrealistic to be like, oh, we're never going to have an argument. I don't know. So it's like people kind of create this fairy tale that doesn't really exist. And then I think because of that, people leave for very trivial, petty reasons.
Yeah.
And then on top of that with social media, I think it's just everybody's overloaded with options that it's so saturated, What
about dating apps?
Yeah,
is there something, do you have something on that?
I was going to kind of get into that because dating apps have fueled hookup culture.
Okay.
And hookup culture is just this, relationships are so backwards where it's like, because of dating apps and a lot of the, there's some that have a better reputation than others, but I'm going to say Tinder, for example, not sponsoring our show, by the way. No, Tinder, for example, like is, there's kind of, it's got a stigma around why people go on there. And so then the relationship is very backwards because, it results in, sleeping with a person and then that's how the relationship forms, or maybe you don't even get a relationship out of that. And then with this whole thing about how you're in competition to be like, I don't want to seem too attached. It's like if someone gets attached or if they feel emotional, it's like they feel guilty for it. I don't know what's the matter with me, why I feel so, attached to this person. Because like something really intimate just happened and then you have to pretend like, oh, we don't even know each other. I don't know. So I think because of dating apps, there's just gray areas and it's confusing. So I think the gray areas where there's no clear communication of intentions or people lie about their intentions to get one thing. And then I think that's all just fueled by hookup culture and relationships being backwards instead of like the let's have some conversations and get to know each other. It's like that's out the window, you know?
Yeah. Do you know anybody who actually hooked up on one of those dating apps like Tinder and the relationship ended up working out?
Yes, I know someone that, yeah, I mean, I feel like I've heard more stories about there just being this hookup and then it was like, okay, that was it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then also there's people that have gone on there and like, okay, yeah, it was like they hooked up from using the app and then, okay, now we'll start seeing each other. But it's just so backwards because they have that experience and then it's like, oh, I just bought her a cup of coffee. You know, it's like, you should be doing that. Like, that should be the first thing you do to make a move. Buy her a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
and it's
start
like,
small.
And he was like, oh, I'm really, I don't know, like I'm really attached to this girl. I'm buying her coffee. It's like, that should be the first thing you do. And it's just like, it's just weird that a small, sweet gesture like that, hey, can I buy you a coffee? You know, like is just frowned upon.
So how does it work? Is it sort of similar like, so one of my friends, Pete McCain, he's been in a relationship for 10 years or so. I think they met on eHarmony.
eHarmony has less of a, well, yeah, I mean, there's been this evolution of dating apps because I do remember Match.com.
Oh yeah, maybe it was Match. And one of those two he did.
But in eHarmony, it started out as you make a profile and, you know, you meet up with someone and usually it was like, we're going to meet up at a public space, like in a park and just walk around. You know, I know a lot of people that are in relationships or even got married to someone they met on Match.com. But I feel like the millennial generation kind of changed the game where now there's this obsession with hookups and using the app for that. And it's like, as kind of this, I don't know, for lack of a better term, it's kind of like DoorDash, but for for other needs. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So let me tell you a story. This is going back in the days before even Match.com, eHarmony. This is going back to, I want to say, late 80s. Mm-hmm. And this was video dating. This was the very first type of program that they had back then.
Yeah.
It was like a subscription service, almost like the old Record of the Month Club, where for, $5.99 you get 11 free records, and then every month you were committed to, you buying one record a month until you did 3 or something, and then you can get out of the contract, whatever. This is sort of like that where, so I actually did this. One of my friends that we'll go on nameless here, we decided to go with it. Let's give this a try. So we went to this place. The place was called Amore and More. And I'm
going to meet my future wife here.
Right? So you go in there, you fill out all this paperwork and personality profiles and quizzes or whatever. And they come up with some sort of a profile for you, a scoring system. And they were able to, and they sit you down, you do a video, a 10-minute or 5-minute video. It's like, hi. Yeah, right. And you just sort of introductory video.
You got to make a good case for yourself.
Yeah, because that's the video that they're going to send out to people who signed up for the service. And then they're going to get a videotape in the mail. It was a VHS of this person's profile.
It's like Netflix.
It's like Netflix, exactly.
But like back in the day when Netflix was, you got mailed the movies.
Mailed the movie, yeah. Right. So you do this thing, and then when it's all over with, they send you the contract, and it's like $1,000
to date the person.
No, just to be part of the program.
Oh, gosh.
They don't tell you the price up front. They just kind of get you in and they show you all these videos and they say, this is how it's going to work. And it's like, these people look normal. These people that they're showing.
Did you pay $1,000?
Well, what they do is they do it on a payment plan. You can do like $30 a month for the rest of your life or something like that. Yeah, no. So you sign on the dotted line. It's like, hey, I can afford this. Right. So I sit back. So my video's out there somewhere. But then I get my first video. I pop it into the machine. And the person that was on this tape, I swear looked like Bozo the Clown.
Oh no.
There was this frizzed out, like really just overexposed, like bad lighting.
Oh wow.
Frizzed out red hair. She had this red nose. And she's like, hi.
And that was the best she could do. Like, I'm going to record a video for myself. I'm going to get dialed up.
Like, she signed off on this and said, yep. It's going out like that.
Right.
So I get this. I'm like, no, sorry. This is.
And what does she look like in low lights? Right.
So I sent it back. I said no. And they sent me another tape the next month or 3 weeks later, whatever it was. Same person.
Oh gosh. See, and like, that's the show. That's the two attached. She's not showing the right. Yeah.
I'm like, I got to get out of this program. And then I talked to my friend who signed up for this.
Yeah.
He's like, you'll never believe what I got. I got this tape. Balls on the cloud.
He got the same one.
They can't get rid of her.
There must be like only 3 people subscribed to this thing. You and your friend, and then this lady, and you're all just getting each other's videos.
Please take her.
Right.
I said, we got to get out of this. So we tried to get out of the contract. They wouldn't let us get it. You signed a contract. Wow. So I took it to the secretary of, or it was like I don't know if it was the FTC or something of the state of Illinois. I was able to like fill out a complaint, because it was within, no, I didn't, it wasn't even within the 72-hour period where you can get out of a contract. There was something else that I qualified for. And I wrote down, this is fraud, because basically they're trying to, they positioned it as you would get somebody new, like and it was the same person, basically 3 times, 2 people, but.
So they didn't like hold their part of the agreement by
right. They didn't hold it up.
Yeah. So then you can get out of a contract, then I would think, if they don't keep their promise.
Yeah. And I got out of it because apparently there were like 3 or 4 other lawsuits against this company.
They were getting the same lady. Probably.
It's like, man, what is this?
Maybe no one signed up and it was the CEO of the company or something. I don't know. I don't know. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, maybe it was his daughter.
So that was the first of the.
That was my first and last. Yeah, well, that was
virtual dating or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any equivalents that go on before that, but that's my first experience with any kind of technology that helped with the dating.
Yeah. Well, and I think then when we went into eHarmony and Match, it was like people were careful about their dating profiles, and you can kind of filter out who, was on your page or something. But now I just feel like Tinder is like the swipe right, swipe left. And I literally have seen people out in public that are on Tinder that are just like, what is it? Swipe right if you're interested. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just swipe right, and not even looking at the person. They're just swiping right on everything.
Yeah.
So that they're bound to get a match at some point, and then someone just comes into their. Yep. So it's just like there's no effort.
No.
I don't know, and so because of this,
So they don't even like do any kind of profile match. It's just based on looks. Is that how that works?
Well, you see, someone has a little description in their bio, and they can put tags of like their interests. So you can get a like kind of a summary of the person and see their photos that they've put on there. But I know some people that just literally swipe right, not even looking at their phone, like they're watching a movie or something, and they're just swipe right. So that like, because how it works is then if someone also swiped right on you, then it's like, hey, it's a match, and then it gives you permission to message them.
I see.
So they're just doing that until someone also swipes right on them, and then they get, I don't know.
And I'm assuming they're somewhere in the geographical area.
Oh yeah, it's like you set the radius that you want them to be in. And then there's Bumble, which is kind of like Tinder, but it's only girls are allowed to message first. Guys can't message first.
Oh.
So there's all these different. I think Bumble is probably more popular than Tinder now.
Yeah.
But there definitely seems to be this no strings attached kind of a thing, and it's led to just so much gray area where I know. I have a friend who's like actually looking for a meaningful relationship, but it's just everyone just seems so flaky, or that they're not clear about their intentions, or the whole, I'm not ready for a relationship right now. Okay, then why are we on this date? Like, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing is, the phrase that's really common nowadays is the you do you.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah. Well, and so what that's led to is I think this kind of mindset that I'm not accountable for the pain that I inflict onto others because I'm doing what's best for myself, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So because we don't feel accountable for the pain we inflict onto other people, it's like no one really feels the even slightest bit inclined to apologize, or, it's like, oh, it's their problem, not mine. The whole ghosting thing, that's their problem if they're upset that I moved on, that kind of a thing. And so it's just everyone's entitled, and everyone has these. Yeah, it's funny. It's like they have these expectations to get the perfect person, but they're not willing to be that person,
Mm-hmm.
And then to sum it all up on why millennial dating has become so screwed up is that with all of this, everyone has become so jaded, and we wonder why mental health issues are on an increase. because any emotion, I mean, I don't know, just everyone's jaded because you're not allowed to show your emotions. Attachment is bad. You don't want to seem too overeager. Commitment is out the window. And so then everyone just walks around so, like blah, like jaded. So
thank you, social media.
Right. So I have never used a dating app. Like I don't know when they started taking off, maybe like
2015?
2015.
I don't know.
But that's when Thomas and I started dating. So,
right.
So literally got out as soon as it started.
Right.
So I haven't had personal experience on the apps, but I have friends that have used them and I've seen it firsthand with like, oh, here's what my profile looks like. Here's what, it looks like. And so I get a firsthand point of view on it just from, the eyes of my friends and that kind of thing. But
would you say, people are obviously meeting people in the traditional ways, right? And do they ever hook up in the old fashioned sense? Like a church youth group or something that brings you together in a
there's definitely people that meet in person. And, of course, when I'm saying dating as a millennial is so screwed up and we're all screwed and it's like, there's always exceptions.
Yeah.
But the general sense that I get from people on dating apps or just kind of everything you see on social media, I don't know. It's, but yeah, I do know people that, they've met in person.
I would imagine most people fall into that category. I don't know a lot of people who actually are there are obviously exceptions.
Right, of course.
But in my case, I met your mother on an elevator. So
right.
That was not
True
planned.
Love can happen anywhere. Yeah, right.
I don't know if anybody really meets in bars, really. You kind of hang out in bars and the social clubs.
People
but
do.
They do? Do they ever long-term relationships? I don't know how many come out of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's just chance meeting sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if anything that you're trying to force doesn't always go well.
Yeah.
But I do know people that are in a relationship happily, after meeting on a dating app. So, of course, there's exceptions in that scene, of course. But yeah. So there you go.
Hello everybody, this is Bubba Gonesh again, coming to you live from my Dropbox. Bubba is going to share with you his beauty tips for a successful Holi celebration. March brings with itself a whiff of holy colors. It is that time of year when we are bathed in a mishmash of colors. While some run away from them, others joyfully embrace it and play and get very dirty. But there is no escaping it. No. Well, if you are scared of what damage these colors will do to your skin and hair, I have something very special to share with you. I am going to share my tips to make the most of this festival by letting your skin and hair look the best despite the chemicals and color in the air. Those taking part are usually careful to ensure that the powders thrown are non-harmful, and so they are most commonly made of a mix of food dye, flour, and water. But still, it is going to be very messy, so these are some survival tips for you to take to heart. First, let's talk about getting dressed for the day. While you enjoy smearing your friends and family with gulal, it's imperative that you are dressed in comfortable yet fashionable clothes to enjoy the festive spirit without any worries. To enjoy the festival thoroughly, it is most important to dress right for it. Pick a loose salwar kameez in light colors like white or beige. Covering your body completely will prevent any direct contact with colors or any chemicals in them. While the light colors will show off the vibrancy of holy colors effectively, you must be careful that they do not get translucent after getting wet. Cotton is essentially the best material for the season as it keeps you cool irrespective of how harsh the sun is. Keeping that in mind, you can opt for a comfortable cotton dress in vibrant colors or prints. This will ensure that even if you do get drenched, the dress will still look pretty on you and not a slouch. You can pair a white sleeveless kurti with a multicolored flared skirt or even shorts and dazzle in the most brilliant combination for this season. However, if you want to minimize your skin's exposure to the colors and to the sunlight, the safest bet is to wear a full sleeves short kurta with linen pants or a full sleeved long kurta with palazzos. Next, let your hair down. Oh, like old man Baba, I love to let my hair down on this day. There is no way to prevent your hair from getting wet or colored in this frenzy, so shampoo and condition them well on the day of the festival. Then, massage your hair well with oil and tie it up in a bun. This will ensure that the scalp and hair do not absorb colors too easily. In case you have short hair, apply hair gel. The third tip that Baba wants to share is love your body. Prep your skin. Hindus are advised to moisturize their hair carefully before taking part, and some even oil their hair to ensure the gulal can easily be rinsed out, a bid to preempt disaster. Start the day with applying oil to your body in the morning with olive oil or coconut oil, and also apply a thick layer of sunscreen on your face and body. Next, put on some makeup. Make special efforts to use waterproof makeup so that it stays on you until finishing your celebration. Apply a layer of waterproof base on your face and neck to ensure that the colors do not stick to the skin. For your lips, slather on lip guard and a good quality long stay lipstick. If you do not like dark shades, go for a natural shade kiss-proof lip color. Next, I advise prepping your nails. Drench your cuticles in olive oil so your nails do not soak up any color. Then, use a thick coat of nail paint on the nails and put Vaseline under the nail edges. Once the festivities are all over, everybody usually spruces up and gathers in their Sunday best to distribute gifts of traditional sweets. And that is how Baba will be celebrating Holi this very season. Thank you so very much. I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. From Baba.
Thank you, Baba. Haven't heard from him in a while.
Yeah, that's some cool tidbits of information. And plus, Baba he's always looked good in a bun.
He looks great. He's going to be, I think, 80 this year.
God bless him.
And you want to check out Baba on his own podcast, since he will not be featured on this show as much as he used to. He was on pretty much every episode, but we've now in this shorter episode, it's not going to be something we're going to be able to fit in every time, but he's got his own podcast. It's the Baba Gonesh podcast.
The Baba Gonesh spinoff show.
That's right. It is the used to be the number one Hindu culture. I think it was under the category in Apple Podcasts.
Is it not number one anymore?
It's somewhere in the top 10, but it has dropped off. But in his debut, it actually hit number one for a few weeks. It was like, oh my gosh, it's a spinoff show, and he's getting more downloads than we are.
Yeah.
Go figure.
That's the fame.
Yeah.
That's what happens when the fame goes to your head.
Well, so Holi is coming up this week, so I thought that would be appropriate for this show. So hopefully you took away some of those tips for the big day. All right. Well, thanks, Allie, for being here, and we will...
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.